the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Baskwell, and I failed to fully appreciate Jonathan.
And I am John Gilardi, and I like long expositional intro sequences in movies.
Yeah. Not
being facetious, I do.
No, I understand. I love a good like opening title graphic, or like I'm trying to think, like in Black Panther, where they have like the sand that like is the black sand that shows how.
That's cool.
I like that.
Even in Harry Potter, it's in the middle of the movie, but the Deathly Hallows thing.
Yep.
Really cool animation.
Yeah, and then the
Lord of the Rings, Fellowship.
Lord of the Rings. That was the one. Man, it's like, oh, dude.
And then both of the movies from the series, we're covering one, but mummies, the mummies.
Yeah,
the mummy films, Brendan Fraser's.
Yeah. That's what they're talking about today. Today, following up on last week, we're going to be talking about 1999's The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser at his most Brendan-y Fraser-iness.
Definitely peak Fraser.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, you could make a case for like George of the Jungle or Encino Man or whatever, but I feel like those are all the things that led to this.
Yeah, when you think of Brendan Fraser,
you think of The Mummy.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Or you think of...
I think of The Mummy and Mummy 2, or Returns or whatever, and then his random cameo at the Lamaze class in Dickie Roberts is what I think of when I hear Fraser.
I also would say I think of Scrubs. His arc on Scrubs is like...
I didn't have no idea.
Yeah, he's got a whole like sexy little arc on Scrubs. It's so good. It's very sad.
I'm not a Scrubs guy.
That's okay.
I think it was tonally too all over the place.
See, it was tonally just right for me.
Really?
For me, well, because again, I love that sort of like, hey, here we are. We're playing at like that sort of like live action Family Guy thing a little bit, but there was a lot more like groundedness into it.
I think House did that better.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah. Well, just in terms of like the. I think that House, in terms of like being,
this is the Mummy.
No,
podcast.
fuck it, we're just doing it, okay? I think House, in terms of like, in terms of being like a medical drama that played like sort of like looseness and lightness, they played it better to me. But Scrubs as a whole had a more complete picture where it was like funnier. Again, to me, this is my opinion. It was funnier, more all around.
I'm not saying House is like a comedy hospital show. I'm just saying it had a good tone.
Yeah.
A good range of tone.
It did have a good range of tone, but it also, for me, again, I just was like, it kind of like, once you got past like season 3, it kind of turned like really, it was like, they were like, listen, this dude's popping pills all the time. For the first 3 seasons, we're like, it's funny. It's like, he's on Vicodin all the time. But they're like, I guess we have to deal with it now.
Yeah.
And it kind of turned into like a lot more serious of a thing. But I mean, I think that it managed it well.
Well, I think comedy and comedians have such a good fine, like, there's such a fine line of the happy, cheery facade or whatever it is to the actual other side of it. I mean, there's I don't know if I'd call it a cliche, but of like how many, all these comedians who
I don't know if it's a cliche. It's just a thing.
Yeah. So I think a lot of that has to do with the art form itself and the means. And so I think that's why something like Scrubs did do well. Yeah.
Well, it was, but I also will caution you to say that it's just a comedy. Because it wasn't, like, it definitely, that was, I'll say, is that it played the line between realism and like goofy sitcom really well, because they've killed people, like they make you fall in love with a patient, and then like they'd be doing goofy things and being like filling the room up with 99 red balloons and like doing funny cutaways and stuff.
They die,
and then they're like, oh, by the way, this person they're coding right now, and your main character can't save them because they're fucking around doing something else. Or sometimes it's just how it happens and people just die. I think that's
hospital shows are always heavy.
I mean, it's,
and there's always like a predicament. Like I think it might have been House actually, where it's like your pregnant wife, she's unconscious and you can save her or the kid.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pick because she's unconscious, And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's so fucking
I mean,
heavy.
it's right there on the precipice. It's one of the things they say about in hospitals is that one room someone is getting birth and the other room someone's dying. It's like it's
circle of life.
Circle the constant balance of life or whatever.
So,
but anyway, the Mummy.
I have seen The Mummy Returns a lot, and
You've seen The Mummy Returns a lot?
And I, for some reason, thought I had seen this one a lot.
Okay.
And I think I've only seen this film once, but I've seen it on TV like 3 or 4 times, starting from the time that the British pilot gets stuck in the quicksand.
Okay.
It's one of those. I don't know if you ever have this, but you always channel surf to the same part of the movie.
Oh no, I know.
All the time. And for me, so I've seen this movie probably about 5 to 10 times from that point on.
Yeah.
The whole thing maybe once.
See, I've had I've seen this whole movie more times than I've seen The Mummy Returns, but I've seen from the beginning of this movie to when they leave.
To leave what?
To when they leave Hamanatra the first time, like when they go to the thing. Once they've I've seen the beginning maybe hour of this movie.
Okay.
More times than I have seen. It's just funny. It's there was I was listening to for a year there. I was listening to Mac Miller's swimming album, and
where's this gonna connect?
Hold on, no. I was listening to that, and I would always pause it. I would always be like, okay, yeah, I've listened enough of this right now, or pause it, or go into a place right as I was listening to this one specific song. Every time I would be like, oh, I'm gonna pause it and take a call or something like that, and it was always right at perfecto, and I was just like, that's fucking weird.
The way the world turns.
Yeah. So I do know that it wasn't necessarily related directly to movies.
Yeah.
But that was the most specific. It's why do I always pause it right at perfecto?
Yeah.
Why don't I always listen right?
I have
up
other
to
examples of things I always turn the TV on. Princess Bride. I always turn on. I think it's at the end of the movie. I've never seen the full movie.
Oh wow!
But I always turn on at the scene where the fact that he's been training himself with poison has paid off. I always turn on Princess Bride at that point.
That's in the middle of the movie.
Okay, middle. I like that actor. I like him a lot in Glory, the movie with Matthew Broderick.
Are you talking about? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name now.
Is it Carlisle?
It's Carrie Ewells.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carlisle.
He's great. I mean, listen, it's a
Carrie Ewells.
The things are there. The things are there.
So yeah, I enjoy this movie. I think it's just a good fun ride.
Synopsize it for us. Tell us before we jump into it. We've already gone off about medical dramas and whatnot.
So we have God, it's hard to. So you have an Egyptian curse of lovers for star-crossed lovers, forbidden love, and they get killed, and there's some curse on them. Snap to the future, which is 1920s Egypt.
1923 to be exact.
Yeah, which I guess the film takes place in 1926, 3 years after the intro sequence.
Gotcha.
It's Brendan Fraser gets arrested or something, and then he gets freed to help this British Egyptian
Egyptologist
go find this the Book of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go to this place.
Well, they're looking for the Book of Amun-Ra, which is the book of essentially, it's the Golden Book of Amun-Ra. They're looking for.
There's 2 books.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Book of the Dead is the second book.
Okay. So they're going to tomb hunting essentially, and spooky stuff happens. They awaken the curse, and crazy shit happens, and they need to fix it basically.
Yep.
And I guess I can jump right in.
Jump right in, buddy.
With what you were saying about the first hour, how much you've rewatched that. I think that was my favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
And I hadn't recalled it enough to know the whole structure of it. But I was like, you know what? I think this is where I was like, I think this film is going to be kind of like a hallway slasher, very, very small setting kind of.
If they stayed there.
Yeah, if they stay there throughout the whole movie, like one by one they get knocked out, like Alien, but in a mummy tomb.
Yeah.
I thought that's where it was going.
Huh.
And I thought that was really cool because I was like, oh shit, they're in the tombs and shit's getting crazy already.
Yeah.
Where's the movie gonna go? And obviously they leave and they go back, but I thought that was cool. And for a moment I was like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be really indie film.
Yeah.
Which it was dumb for me to think. But
a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a little bit more interesting if we set up this first act and then we made the mummy place, a little bit more of a set piece. Because that was one of the things that didn't necessarily bother me. I like this movie a lot. I'll go ahead and say that.
I like the movie. I'm not saying it.
No. But I'll just I'll set the tone. It's like I'll probably be praising stuff about it as we go. But I think one of the things that sort of bothered me was like, you know how in Indiana Jones and like you see them discover the hole and then they get in the hole, and it's not like in the first one where he goes down and there's all the snakes and stuff like that, and they've got the staff of Ra and whatever, and like that's the like in this movie they just kind of end up in the tomb.
Yeah.
Like there's not like a moment, and there's like all those things where it's like they end up in the tomb and they understand where they're going kind of, or there's just sort of that like, yeah, here we are. You don't need to worry about this. You don't need to think about it too hard.
Yeah. Well, I thought the weird thing was how much like knowledge Brendan Fraser, was it what's his name? O'Connor?
Rick O'Connell.
Rick O'Connell. How little he knew about Egypt? Ancient Egypt? He didn't know about mummies and the process.
I mean, I don't know if that was something. I think that might be something that we take for granted.
I mean, I did have that thought because education system was way different then and probably not as internationally World Civ based.
Yeah. But I think too is like in that period there's a reason.
But it doesn't I didn't get from my my viewing, you know, as a not diehard understanding of the lore, the extended universe of the mummy
of Egypt,
of who he was. You know, why he was there, like his interest in Egypt, his purpose.
Yeah, that was a little interesting how he's there, and he's like, I think he's just like a mercenary, or something like that. That was kind of like the thing is like, what are they fighting about?
Yeah,
what are they fighting about? Right in the beginning of the movie, where they have like we cut to the city of Hamunaptra.
You get like English expeditionary force vibes from these guys, but then even American leader.
It's very it's very pulpy where it's like, hey, he's here and it doesn't matter. And again, that's something I think I will praise this movie for, that I think is like good, where it's like, yeah, he's an American, he's there, and he's good at battle stuff, but he doesn't know these things. Yeah, that's not his job in this movie, in this story.
He's Channing Tatum.
Yeah, he's a strong boy. Punch him good.
Yeah,
you know.
What I really like, I think you touched on the pulpiness, is I really loved kind of the Hollywood golden era feel of the sets. Yeah, like people jumping on, like, I don't know if you've ever been to like a spectacular stunt show thing at a Orlando park or whatever. Like it felt like that. Like the sets, they felt like Hollywood sets with gags and different things and people flying off. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that comes to mind. Is,
and I'll just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember it. No, I'm thinking of a different thing I watched yesterday. I don't know why, but it still holds true. Like it's so good at they're huge, they're big Hollywood sets. Yeah, and it also does a good job of you know that and you feel that, and it's nostalgic and it has that like I said, golden era feel. But they're also really good that you know you can easily be immersed and easily look past that. They're these big sets. Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, and the other thing too is the texture of stuff. Like, as we're watching it and comparing it to G.I. Joe, where I was like, there's no texture. Yeah. Everyone feels really flat in there. And like this, kind of going with that like sort of like old Hollywood feel. You know, this very much feels like a movie that was... I wouldn't be surprised if this movie was like shot on film or something like that, just because it's...
Oh, I'm sure it was.
It's got a good feel to it.
Yeah. You know? I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I can even pull up like Marvel films. Yeah. You know, where the props look like props. Yeah. And then here we have a Hollywood era, golden era looking film, but the props and the sets, they have so much...
They feel like they belong there.
Yeah. They don't seem like these big, oversized, flimsy things like that you have in Marvel.
Or like again, referencing G.I. Joe, because we just talked about it, where it's just like, here's thing, and it looked cool. Yeah. You know? It just looked cool in here, and background kind of bland. But like we have, in almost every shot as you go through, the background isn't important, but there's something there.
Yeah, good contrast, good colors.
There's that makes it like a real place, and that was one of the things to me that bothered me so much about G.I. Joe, that it was just like, again, they were in like a warehouse or whatever, but it was just like, oh look, it's a big open space and it's like brightly lit and it looks fake. Yeah, you know, this looks like
bad CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, the CGI in this is from 1999, and it's marginally not as good as G.I. Joe's.
Yeah, I know.
Which says a lot.
The sand and like the little dust mites or whatever that ate the stuff in G.I. Joe. No.
The nanobots.
The nanomites or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like those were like the sand in this was just as fucking good.
Yeah.
You know? I think that it's because there was probably more practical effects when they did stuff, you know? And the practical effects and the special effects were built to make the... Hold on. I got confused in my sentence. The special effects were making the practical effects better. I mean, obviously, whenever they had the big storm cloud, it's like, yeah, that's a big fake storm cloud.
You can see the edges of the mat.
Yeah.
Or the rotoscope or whatever the term is.
Yeah.
I will say
Say it.
It's bad because you wouldn't see this in Hollywood today, and I don't like it. But the characterizations of the Egyptians, like the non-white people, essentially, are super dated and super cringy. But I gotta be careful when I say a but yes. Like it's 1920s told from the perspective of these white people, so it feels like it works in terms of the universe.
Yeah,
not that it's okay, but I'm getting myself into in dangerous territory. But I think there's a lot of stuff like really bad characterization tropes of like the sidekick.
Yeah,
you know, and there's a lot of jokes about
the scarab guy of
the warden, how he smells, and there's all these things, or they compare him to a camel.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like there's a lot of bad stuff there, and it's not done in a historical contemporary context. I think it's just
it's done like a 50s novel.
Yeah,
like that again, very much like it's like, hey, we got our lily white British and American dude.
Yeah, even the like the characterization of a woman is super.
I don't know. I kind of go.
I think the actress Evie does a great job.
Rachel Weisz.
With the womanizing stuff. Like,
yeah, that's the only thing that I'll say is that after he. And again, I saw things because I've seen it both ways. I have read articles online that were like, why Evie and Rick O'Connell are good, and then I've also seen like why they're bad. You know, I've seen it both ways. And again, obviously, I'm a white dude talking about it, and I think that the only thing that I'll say is like when she's like sort of pining after him, after he's like kissed her dirty through the bars of his jail cell, and she's like reminiscing about that kiss.
Yeah, like that's weird. That's like a fantasy.
That's like no, that's not how that would go. It'd be okay if maybe she was like. I just think that's the thing to me that feels like very like male fantasy, male gazy.
Yeah.
But whereas like even him, the thing that I do sort of not like necessarily, but whenever he they showed that whole drop and we're watching the movie in the background as we do, so obviously we'll get distracted.
There's a good stunts, like the bookcase thing is all oneer. It's like all practical.
But they showed that full drop. They don't normally show that full drop of the hanging.
Yeah, which I was like, well, he would have broken his neck, or like the point is to break their neck.
Yeah.
And then they even say, oh man, he didn't break his neck. Well, I guess we got to watch him. And then they have a conversation over him dying, essentially.
But what I was gonna say is, whenever he's like, "Yeah, I was about to die," so it seemed like a thing to do.
Yeah,
you know, that to me, I mean,
I think
I don't know if I'm not one to like apologize for like sexual harassment or whatever, but like, I don't know if that is like, I don't know. That's again, I've backed myself into a corner there too, because it's just like, I don't know if I'm about to get hung. I don't know, maybe.
I mean, yeah, I think like if you're at the die YOLO, whatever, I think in terms of this, it's contextualized.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, good, bad, weird.
But I
obviously
think,
you know what it is, but it's contextualized. And then I think where it is weird is that she just starts to fawn over him.
Yeah.
Presumably from this kiss.
Yeah. Which is like, again, a dirty kiss that he grabbed her face and kissed her between the bars. Yeah. It's like, I don't know about that.
He lured her in and ambushed her, basically.
Yeah. But again, that's not what. Like, I think where it goes from there makes sense, and I don't think that he's ever. I don't think from that point on he's ever like smarmy and like.
No, he's pretty straight.
You know,
like there's a part where she's drunk and she's like, "I'm gonna kiss you now," and he's more sober, if not sober.
Yeah,
and he's just a stand-up guy, and she goes to sleep and
he puts her down and puts her to bed or whatever.
But
far be it from us to discuss the like whether or not.
I will say, if you're watching it as a viewer today, it's gonna feel a little weird.
Yeah.
Due to some of the stereotypes that it runs with, that just probably wouldn't have been okay.
But I think
today it would happen today if it was contextual, historically accurate.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
And I think too, still Evie holds her own. I
think she's one of the better characters. I think
because she's smart, and I feel like everyone is like, she's smart.
I do think her like summoning the end times. There's kind of a lack of accountability there.
Yeah.
Or like there's no gravity she felt. Like she fucking fucked up the world and doomed the world.
Yeah.
Because she was being stupid and impatient. And there's like tons of blood and death on her hands. Like the American mercenaries, all their lives are on her. Those are on her hands.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that.
So she's
I guess I didn't follow like the thread back, like where it's like, oh,
because she doesn't care. She doesn't. There's no remorse. So
Evie is a cold-hearted villain. She's cold-hearted. She's a murderer.
Even like the Southern American guy with the gray suit, like he's kind of like the hothead Southern dude. You kind of, I don't know, whatever. But he ends up having like an arc. Like he feels like a human.
Yeah.
And he realizes the dire situation he is, and he doesn't try to act like a hero.
See, but I'm gonna double back. I'm gonna double back around on it and defend this sweet little movie that I love so much. Is like, I think that's one of the reasons that this movie is good, is because it's like, it doesn't ever have like a 10-minute scene of Evie being like, I've caused all this chaos and destruction.
It didn't need to be there.
No, I know, but I understand what you're saying. But it's also just like, it keeps moving forward. That's one of the things that I like about this movie, is that it keeps up with the rhythm.
Yeah.
It very much feels like a Raymond Chandler book, where it's just like, hey, here's the pacing. It keeps moving. It keeps going. We uncover this new thing. We uncover this new thing, and we have to solve this obstacle. There's a new obstacle. We uncover this new thing, and and I think that's where you're saying, because now I'm intrigued about what it would have been like if they had stayed at the tomb. I wonder what if they kept going deeper, because that's one of the things that they say about like pyramids.
Kind of what's in Prometheus too.
Yeah,
kind of has that vibe.
Yeah,
I mean, any of the alien movies really.
Yeah, but because that's like the thing with the alien. It's like, The
Thing, kind of.
Yeah. Well, The Thing. Yeah, I love The Thing too.
Yeah.
I would say that The Thing and like The Mummy are very close. Just in terms of like.
In terms of what?
In terms of like, sort of. I don't know. I think I said that, and I think maybe I'm rethinking it now, but I just think in terms of like. The tone is like the Thing is kind of like the dark side of The Mummy, where it's like the tone of The Mummy stays kind of like consistently goofy.
Yeah.
And the tone of The Thing stays consistently like dark humor, fucked up.
Yeah.
But it always, this movie stays consistent, like to the end, where they're battling these people, they're battling the things. They're still like fucking cracking jokes, but they're not cracking jokes between them, but they're like, oh, maybe try harder or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's so Brendan Fraser Mummy that tone is.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean, and I can't even articulate it. So if you don't know it, then you're not picking it up if you haven't seen it or you know what I'm talking about. But
it's that fine line that I was missing in G.I. Joe, where it's like G.I. Joe felt like it was trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And this movie was like, hey, listen, here's the stuff. We're playing this 50s, this 30s, 20s Pulp Fiction type thing, and we're going to like point, like my favorite is like where the wind keeps blowing through the camp. And he's like, well, that seems to happen a lot around here.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's a perfect little fucking...
Oh, because it was 2 at the time where you're like, are they hearing this? Is this like sound design? like is it diegetic or non-diegetic?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
And it's just like they just need to acknowledge it enough to be able to be like, yeah, we got you. Don't worry about it. Hey, come along the ride. Come along. It's a good
understated joke too, because you can miss it too.
Yeah,
or even when they jump over the boat and they're like, he has a rival. He's a rival Sherpa, essentially.
Yeah.
Benny. And this boat sinks that they're going on, and they each scramble to the other side. And Benny's like, I got all the horses. And then
hey, Benny, you're on the wrong side of the river, or whatever he says.
So, and it doesn't matter the story in the end, but it's a good little moment too. Of, I don't know. It's great with that. The levity and the pacing and keeping that up.
Well, and then also not making the levity a distraction from what's going on. Like the
which
levity,
the Marvel movies do well.
Yeah. Like the levity, like in that moment, it's like, yeah, it's funny, but it's also like it serves the purpose of our story.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever it doesn't distract from it as far as like making it something that it's not.
Yeah, like I mean this did it well, but in terms of like recent memory, if you haven't seen The Mummy or G.I. Joe, is like Transformers started to get really up its own ass with the comedy, and got really bad and would take you out of moments. Where then in Marvel, it's generally pretty good.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job, I'd say. I mean, again, this very much has like Indiana Jones vibes, where it's like even in the moments of serious, there is like.
I think it does a great job of being a fill-in for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
When Indiana Jones had gone past its time, you know.
Yeah.
I think it existed in a good time, and you know I'm ready for the next mantle of adventure, and I think there is the Nathan Drake.
You think that's gonna pop off?
I don't know. I mean, Tom Holland is playing Nathan Drake, so there's a chance.
Yeah, but there's also a chance. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I mean, Laura Croft. There's a Laura Croft movie, had all the potential in the world. Was just like a movie.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Alicia Vikander one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was. I don't know, man. I think people keep trying to go bigger with the solution, and I think that the solution is more like what's the reason that we like the thing is because of like Indiana Jones and its like practicalness and like the way things look and the puzzles
nostalgia,
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also just like it's a great example, or it's a great like vehicle to just have like practical old things. And I think too there's so many different civilizations. Like I was thinking about this. I mean, I think about this a lot of times, but it's like this is a 3,000-year-old mummy. Egypt was so long ago. We're in the year 2020, and you like think about how long ago like the Renaissance was to us.
The Egyptians were kicking ass for thousands of years before.
Yeah.
Before Christ or whatever year zero.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that they
insane.
say. I don't know what the exact quote is, but it's something like Cleopatra was closer to the birth of Christ than she was to the construction of the pyramids of Giza, where it's like by the time that she's
definitely close to the birth of Christ. She's within like 50 years.
Yeah, well, or the fall of the Roman Empire or something like that. Like she's closer to the fall of the Roman Empire than she was to.
She was part of the beginning of the fall of the Roman Empire.
Listen, okay, I just said I didn't remember the exact quote.
No, but I know what you're touching at.
She was like the pyramids of Giza were as old to her. I think that's what it is.
As she is to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pyramids of Giza are as old to her as she is to us, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean the Middle East.
Yeah, fucking poked holes in that fucking thing all over the place.
No, I'm excited because I finally am putting together Roman history. Because to me, it's always been abstract and like centurions and Caesar. You know, but I've finally kind of put it together, and the rise from Spartacus to Caesar to then Octavian.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you're going all the way through those things.
Yeah, so I'm watching through Spartacus. I just watched Rome.
Oh my gosh.
I watched the Spartacus movie with God, what's his name?
You got it, dude.
What's his name?
Oh, Spartacus, like the movie with like not Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Douglas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just consume all that Romans shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
I mean, I got
As
Sicilian.
as the new Rome falls, you watch how the old Rome falls.
Yeah, basically. Got the Roman. I don't have Roman blood. I have Tuscan and Sicilian blood, but it's Italian. I had someone in my past who went through ancient Rome.
I'm French, baby. Apparently, I'm
I
like
can see it.
I'm like French Spanish.
You're Gaul.
Yeah, well, and then they ended up in Ireland. So like
Everyone ended up in that island.
yeah.
You don't realize the significance that the Vikings had in the world.
Oh yeah.
Because they took over, they invaded and then ingrained themselves with the English.
Well, you could make the case that
then the English engraved themselves in the world.
Yeah, well, because you could make the case that they're like pillaging of like the coastline and stuff like that, and like what they brought to those English settlements and giving it like something to sort of unify against, but also like how they brought it. Like they're the reason that the Vikings are the reason that
England united
and became like we're like, well, this worked on us, so we're gonna do this for the rest of the places.
Well, and the Vikings end up settling, and like I think the red hair thing people like think is like it's Irish, but that came from the Vikings.
Oh, for sure.
So and then every day of the week besides Saturday comes from the Vikings.
Yeah.
Wednesday is Woden's Day, which is Odin. Thursday, Thor.
Thursday.
I don't know.
Frida's Friday.
Yeah.
Freya.
Yep. Which is
does Saturday come from Saturn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just so funny to me. As we get off track, but it's so funny to me how like the Roman gods, like the Greek gods, they have their own thing, and then the Romans were just like
copy and paste.
Yes,
Plagiarize.
this is good.
They control F.
Yeah, they were like yes.
Replaced.
They were like yes, good. Except now you're gonna be named after Saturn, like Saturn, Jupiter.
I was thinking, well, the whole like day of the week thing, it comes from Norse stuff, and then in how in Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, they have a Tuesday, like they have the days of the week. And they have tennis and golf in that universe. It's just like these things. It's obviously just a parallel universe of England, but it is funny to think about because it is high fantasy also.
Well, that's one of the I like to sort of like think that they're like Lord of the Rings, if it's like, because I think it's the third age that like Lord of the Rings takes place, because the second age is Sauron, and then before that is his master, Sauron's master. I recently was looking into this because I think I talked about this on the podcast where I was like, why does Sauron do his shit? Anyway.
He's evil.
He's not evil. He's a god of like order.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, he is evil, but
that's essentially Palpatine's angle. That's his platform.
Well, it's also essentially the Nazis.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I like to think that like some like the Lord of the Rings universe is like, you know how they say galaxy long galaxy far away long. Whoa, what the fuck is the thing?
A long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Yeah, so like Lord of the Rings is like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's like could be like, you know, where it's like if you went forward like a millennia in Middle Earth, they're taking off of spaceships and meeting Jedis or some shit.
That'd be cool. There was
just because of like how like magic works or something.
Well, did you ever see that like fan made trailer of Game of Thrones in modern day Westeros?
No.
It's really cool. It's like a 2-minute fake trailer of a show of like the politics and intrigue in Westeros and the family lineages that carry and all the tensions. And they make into this like 2-minute trailer. It's really cool. I'll pull it up after.
Yeah, please do.
But I mean, that would be so sick to see.
Yeah.
To make that.
How would that? Yeah, except take it away from Benioff and Weiss.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, get out of here. You're not allowed to do Star Wars.
They've had so many projects get canned.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to have a Star Wars trilogy. I don't know if that's happening.
I don't think it is. They think they pulled out of it.
And they have a Netflix trilogy, which probably will happen because they got paid.
Yeah.
And they can do Netflix is pretty good at letting people do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't pan out,
because Netflix just want content.
Yeah.
They're just like fucking give us content, baby.
But if that doesn't pan out, I think they're gonna have a hard time finding a job. I like David Benioff's writing and his books.
Too. What's the book that he read that's like wrote that it's in like he's a spy, or not a spy, but he's like a poet in not Kiev, was it St. Petersburg or something like that, like the Ghost of St. Petersburg or something?
I don't know. I'm interested.
It's a really good book.
I've only read his
The Thief of St. Petersburg.
I've read City of Thieves.
That's
which is a World War II about a boy and a younger boy soldier.
Yes.
finding an egg because it's one of the Russian cities in World War II is being sieged.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And the audiobook's actually read by Hellboy, what's his name? Ron Perlman.
Oh, nice.
So it's a great book, easy one to read, but if you want to do audiobook, City of Thieves is one of my favorite books.
I read that hard copy, baby.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, man.
25th Hour is also pretty good.
Yeah.
With not Norman Reedus. Edward Norton plays the character in the
movie. So yeah, The Mummy though I think what got us on this tangent was the lack of like sort of adventure
history.
stuff and myth.
Yeah.
That was one of the other things too.
Well, the movie sets up context so fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's just a banger of like exposition and all that, and then.
Well, and then you don't need to ask any more questions, really.
This is a really great bit. I fucking love.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna. He's just like setting up the rope and whipping this man inadvertently. It's just like petty.
Yeah.
Just fucking petty shit.
But the man is just like, again, it's like a child where the child is like, "Are you gonna? Oh, are you? Gonna, whoa, oh, you're still doing the thing.
Yep.
I guess I'll back up." It's just no. I think that's one of the like. This movie moves really well. It's got really good pacing, and it doesn't make you. Again, the same way that Indiana Jones did, where it's just like, yeah, this is just how this works. They set up these mirrors up here, these ancient mirrors or whatever, so they have light when they're down there, and it's like, yeah, we've got light when we're down here.
Yeah, I don't think this is told with the love of history or Egyptian history in mind, which is fine. You know, where I think the extreme is maybe something like this, and then the other extreme is the Dan Brown books and movies.
Yeah.
Where that's for the love of the history and the intrigue and the molding it like clay to your own purpose. And then probably in between leaning history and love of history is Indiana Jones. Is the spectrum I just made up.
That's a good spectrum, I think.
To what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that this definitely there's a reason there's an amusement park ride on it where it's just like, yeah, fuck it.
I love that ride.
I know. That's what
they just refitted it and updated stuff too. Oh my God. So the projection's way better.
It better not be that fucking Tom Cruise one. Have you seen the Tom Cruise Mummy?
No. It's the ride. They just updated like the quality of the projections.
Thank goodness.
I went on it in September.
Oh wow.
So whatever amount of months, but oh my God, I love that ride. That's probably top 5.
I know.
Maybe top 10 rides all time.
I had that
at Universal, and it might be in California. I don't know, but it's for sure in Orlando.
I think it's in both of them.
Yeah, it's such a good ride, and the queue is amazing.
Yeah.
And Universal, they're good about it now, but when the park opened, like, queues didn't really matter, or they didn't really care as much.
Yeah.
But this, despite that, has a really fun queue, and it's like a mixture of a bunch of old film set stuff and old Egyptian artifacts. So it's a fun one, and especially as like a film person who's been on sets and went to film school, it's fun seeing all the old lights and all that. But yeah, that's a whole other thing, and a whole other tangent is cues and the whole science behind that.
It's because you got to make it. I remember going to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and the Gringotts Bank one.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's so fucking cool.
There's so many cool pieces to it. You're in the world. Like, you start off, you go into Gringotts, and then you swerve left immediately, and you go to this back area, and there's a bunch of kind of lore dumps and some artifacts and stuff. But then you get into Gringotts Bank, and then you take a spiral staircase down to the basement, and you're going by, like, some of the vaults, and you're going by offices, and there's like newspapers on the moving newspapers, and then you go to a next vault and the pre-show rooms. Like, they're so good because when you turn a corner, they cut your sight line off where it doesn't seem far.
Yeah,
and then you're seeing new things, and you get to that new corner.
Well, and you don't get to look at the next thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're in this room, so you look at everything that's in this room.
Yeah,
it's so crazy that we do roller coasters, just because they're like. It's like a minute and a half, maybe.
I think I'm past that stuff being cool for me.
I don't know.
Because I enjoy the dark rides way more than the coasters.
Okay. But they're still roller coasters, just inside.
Yeah. No, like just
were you
like
talking about Rock and Roller Coaster? Like
no,
Rock
that's
and Roller
cool.
Coasters?
Like dark rides are just kind of like storytelling rides with an experience, and you're going through.
Okay. I'm still not sure if I understand. It sounds like a
so
roller
like,
coaster.
do you know the new? I mean, the most like basic example of dark rides is like Peter Pan.
That flew over my head. What are you talking? Like,
It's a Small World.
Okay, yeah.
Just like rides where you sit
Like Pirates
and you
of
go
the Caribbean.
through. Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean is like the perfect dark ride example.
Okay.
But now they've made them crazy. I don't know if you've seen the new Star Wars ride.
No.
I would kind of consider that a dark ride, but there's no like crazy thrills. It's just a fun experience going through and a bunch of twists and turns. I will say that the Haggard roller coaster ride is my favorite ride all time.
I don't know. I think that's because I haven't been to. How old is my brother now? He's 25, 26. I haven't been to Disney or
Universal.
Universal or to an amusement park
Yeah.
in 5 years, 6
Damn.
years. But yeah, I definitely I remember fucking loving this ride when I was young, and then when we went back recently, again 5 years ago or whatever. It's like this.
It was ahead of its time, and I think that's why it's lasted.
It still hits hard.
Yeah.
though. And it's still good. It's still a good coaster, bro.
Yeah, it's a fun coaster. It's like a less extreme version of
The Rock and Roller Coaster.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, the Rock and Roller Coaster goes out of here. It's wild.
Yeah, it's been shut down a lot on and off.
Because then people like lose consciousness and stuff on it.
Maybe, I don't know. But the cool thing about the Haggard ride is it ties elements of that quick stop speed
Yeah.
on the coaster, but you're on Hagrid's bike, so they like the engine revs and it builds the whole kind of aesthetic of like actual acceleration.
Yeah.
I mean, Rock and Roller Coaster has it.
It like plays with your brain a little bit
Yeah.
more.
And it has tons of twists and turns.
Thank you.
I don't know. I'm a big enthusiast of that ride. We got to game the system, so we got to ride it twice.
Oh, baby.
Without having to wait in line for 10 hours.
There you go, man.
I know.
So
let's talk about John Hamm. Not John Hamm. God, John Hannah.
Jonathan.
What's the actor's name? I think it's John Hannah.
John Hannah.
But he's a...
Bernard's in here with us, and he's trying to lick my face and
got
just being real nice and gentle.
friend of the show, Bernard.
Friend of the show, Bernard.
The dog.
He loved The Mummy. He loved how there were cats in it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I think Jonathan, the character Jonathan, could be annoying, but he's never annoying.
No. And he never takes away. I would say it's like when he needs to do stuff, he does stuff.
Yeah. Like he's kind of like the brother, the dysfunctional brother, I guess. I don't know. And he's the fuck up brother.
Yeah, he's like a little bit hapless, and he's like maybe a little bit of a
But
drunk.
he's not completely helpless. He has competence. You know, he's still got the grade A education and is a smart guy inherently, and like so he's not useless. He's not completely selfish and reckless, but he does have that streak to him.
I saw a thing, and I didn't source it or whatever, but I saw a thing somewhere that was like Jonathan, because they reference his army service or something like that at some point.
Yeah.
And he's got PTSD. He like in that scene that we just saw where he was like, yeah, I've seen worse odds. So he's like a veteran from World War One. Who
Makes sense.
Came from money. He drinks a little bit too much. He's not an idiot.
Yeah.
But he's got like some PTSD stuff, and I was like, I just think that that's interesting, and I don't know if maybe that colored my interpretation of him this time. But it's like as terms of like kind of a goofy side character that doesn't take away from the main stuff.
Yeah.
And
Perfect example of how to do that.
Is like, yeah, he definitely doesn't take away. And at times, whenever like everybody fills their need in, the party. If we're gonna talk about it like D&D, it's like he's running around doing some like rogue shit or whatever, while she's like a cleric or something, and
Brendan Fraser's the tank DPS.
Yeah,
he's like everything else.
Yeah. He just like, I guess I'll just fight this guy.
I just love how many guns he has.
Yeah.
He has 4 handguns on him. Then he has this shotgun.
Yeah.
He's fucking ready to go.
How do we feel about his guns, Guy?
I mean, they're fine.
Okay.
I always don't like when people throw their guns away when they're done with them.
That was an interesting choice, I felt like. Isn't that in like the right at the beginning where
Yeah.
he's got his guns and then he throws them away and then he pulls out 2 more guns and it's like, well, I feel like he could have holstered them and then also
Yeah.
it would have been, then you would have still had those 2 guns.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the order doesn't make sense because he has the rifle that's out of ammo, fine, but he still has a bandolier, a bunch of ammo, so I don't know why. And then he pulls out the pistols, but he pulls out his disposable pistols first, which doesn't make sense. I think you would want your worst thing, your last resort option, to be your last resort option. He should have taken out the whatever. It's stupid. It's fine. It's a movie. It's actiony, and I actually had no issues with it. I think it's
good.
It's a fun movie, so, and the guns serve their purpose. It's not John Wick. It actually has a lot more of like a kind of transient cowboy, or like the transitional period from cowboy shootouts to modern.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly, which is a lot of fun. And I love the Medjai. Their role in this is really fun. It's a little weird how they essentially just kill each other a bunch, and then they're like,
yeah,
all right, we're tight.
All right, we're cool now. I was thinking about that as I was watching the movie this time, where I was like, oh, we're good now? Like,
and we're good now that you fucked the world.
Yeah.
Like the Medjai would.
Why would they?
Why didn't they kill the Americans?
Why didn't they?
Because then if they killed the American guys, then they wouldn't. Then
they wouldn't have to deal with them at all.
He wouldn't have been able to get the power ups from them.
Yeah. Well, I think that he could probably just still take it from other people.
No, he needed it to be from the people who got the jars, who were there at the opening.
Gotcha.
Was part of the curse, was my understanding.
Gotcha. I just think it is like an interesting thing where it's like, it's very much kind of like, because I've been watching The Sopranos, where it's like there's a lot of murder and whatnot in between the mobs or in between like the things, but they're also like, hey, listen, we can't go to the police. We know what happened.
Yeah.
There's like a tacit agreement,
which makes sense in that universe.
Yeah, it does. But it's also for this, it's just like I guess they're all sort of, I don't know. It's like a warning where it's like you just killed a bunch of my friends.
Yeah,
and like, yeah, you killed a bunch of my friends.
Yeah,
or my people that I'm working with.
But I think that ties into the whole. It's just a movie that keeps going.
Yeah.
But that one is pretty. See, it doesn't. It's fine, but the lack of accountability of Evie, and then the fact that they're killing each other, and then they're like tight after.
Yeah. After they fuck the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. After that too.
Yeah. When he specifically said, "All right, get out of here," then.
Yeah.
Get out.
And then they didn't listen, and then they actually fucked things up.
Or
why was he not livid?
Why would they not say? Why would they not? Hold on. Why would they not be like, all right, I guess because he had the dynamite, and he's like, all right, I'll blow us all up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, all right, do it then.
Just like they're more than reasonable, the Medjai in this movie.
They are.
Which is interesting. Also, Medjai is just a cool word. And the concept of these guys being guardians over thousands of years is cool too.
Yeah. Some
serious commitment.
Yeah. I mean, listen, to have it not break down over the years, the like when you pass it from father to son, or father to daughter, or daughter to wife, whatever, however it works.
Yeah.
It's like as it gets passed down, the fact that it's like they're still feeling hardcore about it. They're like, hell yeah.
I think ancient orders existing today is cool and creepy.
Yeah.
And the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was actually started by a Medjai.
Mm.
Did you know the Assassin's Creed logo is the imprint of an eagle skull?
Huh.
It's insane. I don't know if they had planned it, but they kind of revealed it in the Egyptian Assassin's Creed at the end of the game. I'm like, no. And I looked it up, and the bottom of an eagle skull is the Assassin's Creed, the triangle kind of thingy.
Huh.
It's fucking insane.
I saw that there's like Egyptologists who use the mapping that they did like for the Assassin's Creed Egypt game. They used like real like hardcore mapping, so that city or one of the main cities is like nearly exactly how it would have been because they've done so much. Like
they have a history mode where you can walk through and there's a narrator.
Yeah.
I like that game a lot. I think it's a good game in terms of its length and the world and all that. The other Assassin's Creeds,
I liked Black Flag, but only because I could be a pirate.
Yeah, Black Flag was good, Syndicate was good, and then they redesigned to like RPGs. And the first one in the redesign was Odyssey. No, it was Origins, which was the Egypt one. That was fine. But then,
Well, what was it then?
what was what?
Like, what was Black Flag?
Black Flag was just Assassin's Creed. It was the formula they've been kind of iterating on since the beginning.
But I guess the question, because isn't that an RPG?
It had elements, but it was an action game, I'd say, first and foremost.
I guess that's what I was looking for. I was like,
Yeah.
what's the definition of that?
But
Because you are role-playing, I guess, sort of.
yeah.
But this one is like you get to customize your person a little bit more?
There's no customization, but it's very RPG in the sense that it's open world and quests and getting gear and increasing that gear, where the other ones were just focused on the set pieces and you go in.
Okay.
You know, it gives you the paint by numbers, I guess. Where
Gotcha.
the other ones just give you
Hey, here's what you do.
yeah. But then the next two games are like 60 to 70 hours long.
Whew.
And no one ain't got time for that. Well, people do, especially today's world, and I definitely had the time to. But I was like,
I
I
don't know
got
if I
what
have
I
the
needed.
desire.
Yeah, I was like, I got what I needed after 24 hours of the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna get anything new out of this besides new story, and the story's fucking weird for me. People like it. I'm glad they like it.
John's like, all right, fucking, I'm done.
And I liked a lot of the design choices in the game itself. It's just too long,
Yeah.
too up its own ass in the story department.
I feel like that with a lot of movies too, where it's like it's weird. This movie, again, doubling back to The Mummy, which we've got here, is like it's 2 hours and 5 minutes long, and it doesn't feel like it, you know. And I think that a good length for movie is like an hour and 45, hour 50, and I
Which
feel
I think is what this movie is.
it's like a little bit over 2 hours,
yeah,
probably.
yeah.
With it's probably like 2 hours with the
it's
trailer
2
or with
hours.
the
It does move.
but it moves, and that's one of the things. It's like, yeah, okay, it's worth it. But like even some of the Avengers movies where it's like, yes, I get it, it's an event, it's an experience, and there's like even other movies like the Justice Leagues or like the bigger movies where it's like, we gotta have, like, if it's a good movie, it's 2 hours and a half minutes long, two and a half.
The standard went up.
You know, and it's like I don't need that.
You even have comedies now that are 2 hours long,
Yeah,
which you don't really have many comedies today, anyways. But
that's a whole other thing.
yeah,
That's an interesting thing.
like the only thing that really survived is the Judd Apatow kind of style stuff.
Yeah,
There's definitely the sophomoric stuff is, I think, because it never aged well,
yeah,
and not aged well. It never. The leaders
It
of
didn't-
that didn't age.
yeah,
They didn't adapt their craft. They stuck with like Adam Sandler,
yeah.
Kevin James to some extent. I mean, all of them. They're all friends. They just kind of do the
They
same
just
shit.
do the same stuff. Well, and that's the other thing too, is because there's no like the new comedy stuff that comes out always has more of that like. It always feels like it comes from the same coaching tree, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, Apatow's involved in the King of Staten Island.
It is pretty funny how the comedy world is very like incestuous the way like
Mhm.
sports coaching is,
Yeah,
specifically football.
yeah,
Incestuous by like everyone's connected.
yeah. It's just, yeah, I don't know, because you'd have to really get connected or like really have something cool, to make like a comedy movie now.
Yeah, and then the reason I think I've said this many times before is today it exists in genre blending, Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, easy example.
Yeah. I mean, The Mummy.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie was ahead of its time, but it also followed in the footsteps of something that established with Indiana Jones, which did have a lot of humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it wasn't ahead of its time. I think it was good.
It just did
It existed well at the time that it came out, and it existed well the time the sequel came out. But it didn't exist well the time the third one came out.
Well, they also, like, that was like a money grab. And
Yeah.
we can kind of get into that a little bit more, where it was like, all right, we've done The Mummy. Let's do a different Mummy.
Yeah.
And Rachel Weisz was like, I don't want to come back. You know, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it doesn't really feel like it was necessary.
No, it felt.
I've never seen it. I've honestly never seen
Oh.
the third one.
Well, let's watch them all then.
Yeah, well,
Talk about them.
We're gonna.
So we got then we'll do G.I. Joe.
We'll do G.I. Joe
Retaliation
Retaliation. I got some reviews. I mean, for the most part, they're pretty.
I will say the viewership did not drop this week with G.I. Joe last week, which was cool. So that's good. It either means you guys like the off-ball topic or the random fucking movie, or you just like to listen to us talk. Either one is a win-win.
Yeah.
But that was good to see. So
yeah, that
thank
was
you for your listens.
I guess we're I guess we're going. So what did we start? We started with fucking. We went. I think of all the movies that we've done, I think we've talked the leastest about the actual movie.
Yeah, but I think that's also good.
Yeah. Here's our like little post game. Our post game on the.
I think we jump around, but I think we see through the thing we bring up. I've listened to podcasts where they bring things up and they distract each other and they don't finish the thought. It's like, no, I kind of wanted to hear what you had to say.
Yeah.
I will say him sleeping with his finger on the trigger is very dangerous and very sketchy.
Very dangerous. I know that as a person.
Yeah.
Who is like, I would also say.
Oh my God, he's getting up.
And he's still got
using
his
finger as leverage on the trigger.
Huh.
To get up.
Huh. Yeah.
Okay. Weird.
But it is like, I don't know. I never thought about and again, because the movie never talks about it, but the fact that she's responsible for the stuff. But I did read that where it's like, that's one of the things that people are not super jazzed about her is because she's like, oh, Eve, oh, she's the one who fucking does all the bad stuff. And, it's her fault because she's a ditzy little woman doing this stuff. And I was like, I never read it that way.
Well, I didn't take her as ditzy.
I didn't take her as ditzy either.
It's just I think it's just a weird sense of maybe.
That book design is cool.
Of not like arrogance or whatever.
I definitely
like a sociopath. Like she just loves history so fucking much she doesn't care.
Yeah,
she's just kind of jazzed that she got to see it.
Yeah,
sick.
Yeah, she's like, oh, sick! Can't wait to read this, dude. I'm gonna put my fingers all over that.
Yeah, and then the bad stuff that happens, just like tight. This is cool.
History. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I guess if you frame it that way, it is kind of like, damn, Evie, are you sociopath? But I never saw it that way, or the other way where she was like a ditzy woman like fallen. I always thought that she was just like, I always felt that she was really smart and like just like hungered for knowledge.
Yeah,
in a non-sociopath way.
I definitely didn't get ditzy, even with her doing the book thing. That wasn't, to me, it wasn't a ditzy thing.
So before, what's your review of this?
I guess what to summarize it, I enjoyed it.
Okay. That's good.
I'm curious to see how the second one is. I think I might like the second one better.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. It's a fun ride. I think it
is a fun ride, but is the movie good?
It's just good at being very good, but it's not like great. I don't know. I like the movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
3 out of 3 scarabs out of 5.
Ooh, nice.
I like it. I like this world and I like the franchise, and I also there's also Scorpion King.
Yeah, there is Scorpion King.
So, man, we might need to do that because that's a whole rock topic. That could be a big thing to talk about.
We could. I wonder if we should, to avoid like doing like 2 whole months of G.I. Joe and the Mummy. I wonder if maybe we should like, I don't know. We've only got one more G.I. Joe.
Let's do something else.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Let's do something else for the next couple weeks, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because it is hard to make like kind of 10-pull your show off of some
This is all we do.
Yeah.
This is all we do. Mummy and G.I. Joe, because then we could do the Mummy with Tom Cruise.
I do want to do that too, because I never saw it, and that's a whole thing too, because they tried to launch a cinematic universe.
Oh my God, they tried so hard.
And it just didn't happen.
Everybody's trying to do cinematic universes.
Yeah.
I gave it 3.5 stars. I'll give it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
I know that I love this movie. I also know what it is. You know, it's not a 4-star movie. Mm-hmm. It's not a 5-star movie. This movie is fun. This movie is good. This movie moves. And you could it's a good movie that you could probably make like a bad movie drinking game out of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every time Brendan Fraser yells.
Every time he yells, or anytime they like call attention to something, or anytime they lose Evie, or anytime Evie is like too smart for her own good or something like that. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, every time someone opens their mouth really wide.
Yeah.
Every time one of the Americans die, finish your beer.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So that's like one of those pace things. It's always
anytime
the same.
there's a plague, you know, take a shot or something. But it's like, yeah, it's not necessarily bad, but you could have that same sort of like vibe where it's like, hey, this is kind of a party. We all kind of get it. We all know it. It's not great. You can like pay attention if you want and be like, haha. Or you could like, hey, we're talking. And it's like, it can do both.
Yeah.
Like you can have it on the background and be entertained by it when you like pop in, or you could pay attention to it and be entertained by it. You know?
Yeah. What did the people say?
The people said, this is a 3-star review. Neither entertaining enough to be good nor bad enough to be awful. The Mummy is a little more than a bland, albeit sometimes fun action film.
That's how I feel, but I'm a little bit more positive on it.
Yeah,
But
I get that.
That articulates it fairly well for me.
3.5 stars. Not the deepest story, but a fun ride with a mix of horror with Disney-style humor. Lots of memorable one-liners.
Disney-style humor?
I mean, it kind of has like that sort of like softball. I don't know. It's much more. I don't know if I would say Disney style, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get the vibe that they're going with. 3 stars. It was good enough to cause a sequel to be made, but not good enough to help sustain the career of one of its stars. Thankfully, that star wasn't Rachel Weisz.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, they're going in on
The Fraser.
Yeah, I mean, geez, he's had it hard enough, bud.
Yeah.
Here's a 3-star review. Cheese CGI, decent story, decent acting. It has some funny lines here and there. Not a bad movie at all, but not really a great one either.
What's their name? Sebastian?
Yes.
Sebastian, this movie came out in 1999.
Yeah.
That looks pretty good. I'll give it.
Like, it's not great, but it's fine.
It looks good for what it is. I mean,
I'm trying to see if I can find it.
I do love how Brendan Fraser shoots him with the shotgun, and he's like at him. He's like, I took care of it.
He's fine, dude.
I shot him.
I got him. He's gone.
And the Medjai's like, no, you don't understand. He like iterates, like they have this back and forth so much. It's so dumb, but it's so good.
I'm trying to find a worse review, like a real 1-star, because all the 1-star reviews that I saw were like bad, not like it's not fun if that's it, you know.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
You need someone got worked up.
Yeah, give me some, because they're all like 3-star reviews, which is like, yeah, okay, I get it. Because here it's a 3-star review, a box office king that takes the throne of enjoyment well, but not the throne to good storytelling. Yet it manages to satisfy thanks to its quirky comedy, vibrant color palette, and over-the-top acting matching its style. With all of that aside, it's not perfect. The story has too many cliches, the script was generic, and the effects were extremely outdated. Well, most of them. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. It knew what it wanted to be and delivered.
It's a good review. There's some things I'm gonna pick this review
Pick it apart, dude.
So so the story has too many cliches. I think that's intentional. It's pulp.
Yeah.
It's pulp. So
It's supposed to have those
yeah,
cliches.
it's supposed to have that. It's supposed to feel kind of generic in a sense. And then the what was it? The special effects were extremely outdated. Does that mean they were outdated when it came out, or does that mean they're outdated in today's standard? There's a big difference. And here I am again. I'm defending this movie because I think for 1999, I think it's fine.
I think that even now, The Mummy is not that bad. Like,
No,
he's not great or whatever, but it's like, in terms of like,
it's not the Scorpion King. That was bad.
oof, I mean, we'll get there, man. That's in the next movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is not that bad.
No, I think
You
it's
know,
fine.
he
Even has some weight in his movement.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things too, is like, he looks real enough to actually be a little bit scary.
Yeah.
You know? And he just looks, they're showing him a lot for him to not be good.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's what you do if you have like a bad special effect, is you don't show it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you show it when you have to, which they should have done with the Scorpion King.
Yeah.
You know, not fucking show it. But it's like, okay, it's not bad.
No.
It's not bad enough that it's worth to spend any energy on it.
Yeah.
You know?
To knock it for that. And I think that's just interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe spoiled because we are all spoiled with what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
Especially, I think I've seen a lot of stuff on the like AI learning and all that, and I think special effects is going to hit a prosumer level, and I think it's prosumer enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's
Explain that, prosumer. What is this?
like DSLRs are the best example. Like all of a sudden, everyone had access to good-looking picture.
Oh, gotcha,
and
gotcha.
Short films and all this stuff, YouTube channels, all these things. Like the impact of DSLR and good quality camera, huge impact. I mean, that's part of why content creation is the way it is today, is the DSLR. And so I think special effects is going to hit that point. It's going to be something where it's a lot of AI learning, where you can conceptualize something, shoot plates and whatever.
Get a digital artist to do some stuff, and it's
not
like,
even like the thing, like the tool will be the AI learning, and you just need to put in what you want. With rotoscoping and I don't know, just whatever, the AI learning. I don't know. I think that's going to happen within maybe 15 years.
Yeah, I mean,
which would be really cool.
I could definitely see that. I mean, it's already there. Like some of the like fan films, like that, like have even moderate, where it's like, hey, listen, this is good enough. Like I think I remember seeing like Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, this is not like, I fuck with it though.
Yeah,
you know. It's just funny how, like, what? So then, what do you think the next sort of? What do you think the next sort of step is, as far as like
for that?
For like, what do you think that the movies will do to separate themselves? You know, from what regular people
always look
do.
better, just better sets.
Yeah,
better sets and props, talent. And I don't like, you know, the DSLR didn't change anything. It more just
made it more accessible to other people.
Yeah, and it helped spawn a different form of content.
Yeah.
I do love the old RAF pilot.
Yeah,
he's great. From Indiana Jones. Any more reviews? Is that it?
I mean, we can do more reviews.
Let's do one more. Either really, is there any like someone who just fucking loved it, or are they all 3 out of 5?
I mean, they're all pretty like
3 out of 3.5, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, they're all pretty. I mean, that's the thing, is like this movie is for the people. Here's a 2.5-star review, which is just acting by most was commendable, plot advanced acceptably, action undeniable, special effects pretty darn good, cinematography admirable, some genuine humor, concept okay, overall experience meh. I was simply not drawn into the story or the characters as I should have been given the hype and budget.
Well, interesting. Seems like they liked it.
Yeah, but then they were like, no.
Well,
because
again, their own, I guess.
The whole time they're just like, yeah, action commendable. But I just also think that just the presentation of this review in the one sentence, here we go, was interesting. Stevie D.
Well, what are you watching these days?
These days, I just finished season 2 of The Sopranos. I love that good stuff. And then I watched for the first time A Star Is Born.
I haven't seen that.
I
need to watch that.
It's good. I am not sure why Bradley Cooper didn't get an acting nomination.
Really?
They both did just a really good fucking job.
I mean, technically won an Oscar for the song at least, right?
I think she won an Oscar for this song.
Oh, man.
I know that she won an Oscar for the song. I don't think he was nominated for Best Director either, which I feel like maybe he should have been.
Well, any recognition that gets from the Academy, reflection on him.
Yeah.
With his involvement top to down.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
wrote, starred, directed.
Yeah.
I just also think I just think it's very clear that movie was directed by because Bradley Cooper has been sober for a long time, but it's like for a movie about an alcoholic or an addict in any sort of way, it just does a really good job of being like, yes, this is what it's about, but it's not about the drinking. Like it's just really good. Like you can tell that he's like, I know what this is about.
Yeah.
You know? It's just really good. And I think that's one of the things that I was like, nice.
I need to watch it. I need to watch a lot of movies.
There's a lot of content out there, buddy. There's a lot of media.
If I really had nothing else to do and my interests, I guess hobbies or interests.
Yeah.
You'd still be fine. That's like, you almost have no right to say that you're bored.
Yeah.
Today, even as a kid growing up, without really like access to internet and
But,
stuff.
I mean,
if I said I'm bored, that was worse than me swearing or like calling my dad or like I didn't really swear at my parents or call them names, but like saying I'm bored was worse than that.
Yeah.
And that was in the.
But I'd say that there's something too where it's like you can't watch movies constantly.
No, yeah, no, I'm not saying that's. There's enough out there, and you can pick up there's so much to do today. There's so much access to stuff. There's so much access to stuff that can enable other things.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to interact with people now. I don't know.
So what have you been watching, bud? Besides filling our hearts with joy.
The only thing I've watched, I mean, I'm keeping up Spartacus. I'm on the last season. It's a fun show. Good characters. Some of the characters are kind of like sporadic, and they just make they change their motives based on what they need, where they need the story to finesse. But it's a fun show. I really enjoy it. It's a good kind of David versus Goliath kind of thing with with Spartacus' army versus the big bad, the Romans.
Okay.
And then I watched Promare, which is this anime about like there's these mutants and they all have fire powers, and it's about like these firefighters and pretty cool concepts, like a hyper focused mutant thing instead of like X-Men where everyone has different powers. It's like there's different power. There's different there's mutants, but they all have the same power. And how does that shape that world?
Huh.
And firefighting services.
Huh. Interesting.
Kind of emerge, and it's just a really cool style in terms of the art direction. It was okay. I mean, it's not for me. I think I like.
But you gave it a try.
Yeah, I think I like something like JoJo Bizarre Adventure, where it's funny and it's self-aware and it's making fun of the anime tropes. Where in this,
there's the anime tropes.
Yeah, and it's always still kind of self-aware, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love how much JoJo Bizarre Adventure just fucking goes for it and is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I love to do some episode on JoJo or Avatar.
Yeah.
We got to figure out the logistics of that.
I know. But I still haven't. I'm saving off on it because I know we talked about that. And I haven't watched it yet.
I think they're 20 episode seasons, so we could do like 5 episodes.
Okay.
Is an episode.
Yeah.
Or podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Just let me know when you want to do it.
Do like a little side project.
Yeah.
Well, I think that might be it for the Mummy for this week. Next week we'll either be back with G.I. Joe Retaliation
or something
completely different, just completely out of left field. I think we played it a little bit too by the book this week, and we knew what was to expect, and I think you guys did too. So
yeah, but I hope it was a fun discussion.
Yeah. Tell us what you know. Hey, hit us up at Stinky Podcast on Twitter. And tell us what you like about Egyptian mythology.
Yeah.
I like how I think it's set. He cut his penis off and he threw it into 7 different places, and that they became the 7 different places of the Nile or something like that.
Wow.
But the god Set cut his penis off. I think.
Good for him.
But there's just I can't. I guess I shouldn't have said that if I don't know it.
Well,
true. But
it's your favorite part apparently. Either way,
one of the gods cut his penis off and cut it into 7 different parts and threw it, and it became like the Nile or something.
Well, mine is just how old it is and how big and crazy that civilization is.
And they've been around for doing stuff for so long. So tell us about be an Egyptologist. I know you're out there.
What do you think about Evie?
Yeah, what do you think of Evie? Tell us how you feel. Tell us what you want to see. And as they say in Cairo, hey, get out of my tomb! I'm sleeping here.